Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the bold analysis. I want to show you this photo you are seeing in your screen. The three people that arrows have shown there are Rigathi Gachagwa's security details. Today, when he attended a church service in Kiambu, he was accompanied by his security details that have been confirmed to have been reinstated, both the close security guards and the ones that man private residence in Karen. Remember, the withdrawal had been done on his private residence and that of the deputy president residence had remained. So all have been returned, and the same day that the tone of the president and his deputy tells a lot in terms of what exactly is pending on that impeachment. Watch this video to the end. I have an interesting podcast for you. Who ordered and why was Rigathi's security reinstated urgently? There was a need for that. We are going to look at those in details. But before that, we are doing Granny Care Nyandarua, Kipipiri constituency in a squatter camp. We are going to build houses to these three elderly members of our society. And I'm just so glad that we've managed to collect 117,000. So we are into the second house. That each house is supposed to cost, I think now probably 100,000, looking at kuweka hizo plywood, because we just needed to do something good. So we're into the second house. We're already done with the first house. So we're into the second house. And that's why we are fundraising around it. So first house 100, second house 100. Out of that I already have 17. So for me to achieve the second house, I have a target of 83,000. So we will be in Nyandarua for better part of the week, from tomorrow to Thursday. They're waiting for us. And I'm asking you guys that let's stand in the gap and support this Granny Care project. 100 bob challenge at any amount you can get. And thank you very much for the good our subscribers that have hit this call, partaking of these blessings. And some have even issued called Kevin, let me offer transport, let me give you accommodation. Yes, someone said give me accommodation. And I'm just so glad that we are taking up this. Thank you very much, and kindly let's support. I just want us to listen to them a bit here.
Abereria.
Hii ni Meharate Gishagi. Ninaitwa Juguna Kamande. Na nilikuja hapa na mimi nakaa peke yangu. Sina na watoto, sina bibi. Hata watu ndio wanasaidia mimi.
Majina ni Alice Joki Kinyanjui. Nakaa hapa kutoka 1960. Mimi niko hapa, tunaniko na tapu ya nyumba.
Yes, and by the way, this is the first Granny Care we are doing in Mount Kenya. We are doing in Nyandarua. And by there, I hope we will do it in all the 47 counties or the areas that are really in target. So we did Kilifi, we had done Kisumu, we had done Kano, so now we are doing Nyandarua. So this is the third one in the year. Probably this will be the third for Granny Care. We'll do the next one next year. So I want to say thank you deep from my heart. Yes, that we are partaking of this. Ladies and gentlemen, Rigathi Gachagwa's security details have been returned quickly, with some unconfirmed reports saying that the military ordered immediate reinstatement of Gachagwa's security. As a constitutional mandate, it is the duty of the military to safeguard the institution of the presidency. He will fly his flag until his court cases are fully heard and determined. So the cases, I think what William Ruto has realized, these cases are dragging. And even there is no guarantee that by Tuesday the government will get their way in the courts. So the cases might drag for long. And in fact, one of the things that is here, they might have realized that a lapse in Rigathi Gachagwa's security can be a loophole that can be exploited just to maneuver the way in the judicial system. Some very good friend was telling me that the day Rigathi Gachagua was taken to the hospital, his security details were summoned and they were called to explain what exactly happened. And the surprise of many, they could not explain. Yeah, apparently Rigathi was driven there and they did not really have a true picture of what happened. So this could be part of the strategy to man-mark and know his steps. When you put security in his private residence, because initially it was being done by private security, but when you put security in private house, move here and there, the government will be able to track and trace what each and every step that Rigathi Gachagua is doing. The other one, I think, Gachagua's security were questioned on that, and probably they're looking at what will be the effect of that. Some other information just related to it is staffs, part of personal staff who had been blocked from accessing the Harambee House office were allowed, and probably there is a signal that the vicious hate that, the drawal and all the manner of mistreatment that was meted on him seemed to be going down. But I want us to look at the tone. Rigathi Gachagua was in a church, attended a church service in Kiambu. I want us to listen to his tone and his message and try to reconcile that try to compare that with what, with these stories of reinstatement, so that you read which kind of signal can we draw from it. Today, Rigathi Gachagua, in a change of tone, he asked the country, it's a satirical statement though, he asked the country to pray for William Ruto because he's facing many challenges, calling on the church to pray for Ruto to overcome issues of taxation. I want us to get that soundbite here.
We want to ask the people of Kenya to remain peaceful, and we want to ask the people of Kenya to pray for our president, Dr. William Ruto, to give him wisdom to navigate the challenges affecting the Kenyan people. Our people are feeling helpless because of economic adversities, because of overtaxation, because of failing health systems, and the president has a big job to do. We want to ask prayers for him, for God to give him wisdom, so that the people of Kenya can get some relief as they go about their businesses.
Yes, so while in that church service, that statement is very satirical. It's ironical. Yes, he's been bashing the president since this impeachment started, and he's been taking a combative edge on the president. But in an ironical statement, he's saying he just wants to criticize William Ruto, but is criticizing indirectly. And there is a signal that is sending there. Let's look at that church service in Kiambu. He was accompanied by Wamushomba, the Juja MP Kiumbiri, Medu, the senator, Kagusha, I think that was Mukurueni MP, Jen Kihara, Naivasha, Kirinyaga women rep, Maina, Njeri, then Major Donk, Nyutu, Muranga senator, Malala, not Kawanjiko, Wajiko Mohia, and Waititu. I want us to make some 3 observations from that church service. Number 1, the presence of Waititu. Waititu has been a close confidant of Kalonzo Musyoka. And that is a signal that, the Kalonzo and Rigathi camp are trying to quote. Kalonzo is quoting, or rather Rigathi is quoting Kalonzo's camp. Remember, Kalonzo actually supported Rigathi on this impeachment and voted against those who wanted to, those who are removing Rigathi Gachagua. So the presence of Waititu is a political message that probably he's quoting that side. The other MPs, the other one is, I also realized in Kiambu, those MPs were not given microphone to make any speeches. Yes, What would you expect? Probably they will be talking about the impeachment and they will say so many things. So one thing, I think Rigathi's handlers are managing the messaging around probably when they were in that church service. The only person who spoke was the spouse of the deputy president, Dorcas, and she's the person who ushered the husband in that church service. So they decided to keep off a bit of politics. Probably, if you ask me, there have been threats. The church were under threats in Mount Kenya sometime that NIS were in the church service and they were being traced on what is being done here and there. So it could have been probably the administration of the church, the management of the church declined, probably advised them. But if you ask me, most probably Rigathi Gachagua wanted to control on what exactly was going to be said there. Contrary to many other events, Rigathi did not hold roadside rallies. Normally after church service, he would come out, sprout from the car, and hold roadside rallies. Now on this one, no roadside rally was done. Now I want us to look at his message. We'll compare that with what happened in William Ruto's church service in Moiben. He had some messages here, and he said it. I could not play the clip because he spoke in Kikuyu, but this is what he literally said. We forgive, but we don't forget. I've heard people saying that 3 years is a lot of time, that by 2027, people will have forgotten. Even the atrocities meted on us by the white man, the pain we suffered under President Moi, we still remember. When the time is right, we'll address the issue at hand. But at the moment, we will keep quiet. No politician keeps quiet. Even what he has said, he's already broken the rule of political quietness. The political silence, he has already broken the rule of political silence because he's already spoken. He continues to say in a speech that he delivered in Kikuyu language that, I want to thank Kenyans for praying for me during this time. Kenyans are very wise and they know everything. Many people thought that there will be protests after my impeachment, but they don't know us. We as Mount Kenya region remain silent, but we don't forget. He's mentioned about this, and if you've been following my podcast, I said that the silence in Mount Kenya was a game changer. And let me just repeat it for those who've never heard that. I've always mentioned it, and I've been saying that if Mount Kenya will break in protest, Kindiki would be sworn in the next day. And it would have played straight in William Ruto's plan. That if there is a protest, then they say there is a crisis. Sit and create a crisis. National Security Council creates a crisis. Then from that crisis, they say, let's swear in Kindiki. If people are protesting the day, parliamentarians were in the house, and the president could not see the wisdom of calling the MPs or calling the speaker for the assembly proceeding to be shelved, to be stopped. They did not. In fact, they thought people would protest, then go home, only for the protest to continue. So I think this is also something is addressed about it. If you read the tone of the deputy president, you'll understand one thing from it. Even if there is that security reinstatement, I've seen people saying, he's reinstated, so he's gotten back his job, he's going nowhere. But there's something he's saying that I will really want us to interpret. Now let's go elsewhere where William Ruto was, because that was also another church service. In Moiben, Ruto pitched tent with the broad-based battalion, and Opondo Kalum was in charge of the MPs. So trying to imagize, the broad-based issue, the broad-based arrangement with the sibling Raila Odinga. You could see how Opondo Kaluma, the Homa Bay Town Member of Parliament, asking MPs to respect the president.
Nimekuwa nikitembea huku sana, hasa upande wa Nandi. So there is a day I said, tutaingia na tutakuja tuwasaidie kuheshimu rais, kumsaidia kuungana na yeye, kuunganisha taifa na watu wengi sana, hasa Mandago. Alisema utakuja kweli? Mandago sasa niko wapi? Niko hapa. We are here, Your Excellency, to thank you very much for what you've been doing in words and in deed in uniting the country. You've spoken the language of unity from the very beginning of your reign. And our people do not understand, but when you swore and put your hand on the Bible and lifted the Constitution, among the matters which you said before Kenyans you defend is the unity of our nation. And that is why the Constitution says you are the symbol of national unity. Naona hata nikiongea Your Excellency, bado wanauliza hii watu wamekuja kweli? Hatutoki. Mahali tumetoka si ndio mbali? Kutembea kutoka Sudan, Uganda mpaka ufike huku. Sasa kutembea kutoka Kisumu na Moiben. Rais hatutoki. Mine is to warn you to respect the presidency. We are searching for it. Hatujawahi pata sisi upande ule. And we will help you. And to caution you that people who come last like us. Si Biblia usema people went to harvest, lakini mwishowe hata wale walitoka nini walipata sawa. Tumekuja, and Your Excellency, thank you very much. You are giving us better than them. Better than them. Give us more because we are your prodigal sons.
I'm telling you, that's where politics has reached. So that was Opondo Kaluma talking about that, and you can see in Moiben, the broad-based battalion was there. Opondo Kaluma and Eddie Okech, the Migori senator. They are the ones, new MPs, legislators who were with the president. Even though Opondo Kaluma even yesterday was in Tharaka Nithi to attend the burial ceremony of George Muragara. Yeah, Tharaka Nithi MP yesterday, where they were talking about impeachment. So Kindiki is also the DP designate. Even though he made a technical appearance on Mashujaa Day, he was not in the picture. I think to some extent I like the way Kindiki he's not coming out aggressively fighting for that position. Yeah, amekaa tu kama atapewa apewe. Then I also got the speeches from two MPs from Mount Kenya because they're the ones that were there. I took keen interest because I took those two speeches from those two Mount Kenya MPs because I'm telling you, our politics is tribal. So that was Moiben, was in Gishu. William Ruto wants to pacify the ground because even in Mount Kenya, even in Rift Valley, people did not welcome Rigathi impeachment. And you can sample this, what these two MPs were saying. You can see the script in it.
Kupata baraka kutoka kwako Papa Askofu. Ya pili, nimekuja kwa sababu sisi watu wa kule Nyeri na pia jamii inaitwa Gikuyu, Embu na Meru. Sisi rais chagua kwa hiari na kwa imani. Na imani yetu rais haijashuka. Tunaamini ya kwamba hii safari na hii serikali tuliunda pamoja, tutatembea pamoja mpaka mwisho. Na Mheshimiwa Karuma, karibu. Hata sisi hatutoki, tunakaa. Hiyo ndio ukweli wa mambo. Kidogo tumekuwa na siasa kidogo ya mtu wetu. Sisi tunaamini siasa ya watu wetu. Na rais, tunafikiria tukiangalia kwa sasa umepata ile formula ya kutuweka pamoja kama nchi ya Kenya.
Kwa majina, mimi naitwa Kawanjiko, mbunge wa Kiambaa kutoka kule Kiambu County. Na tumeleta salamu za kutoka Kiambu. Umezipokea? Asanteni sana. Your Excellency na Baba Askofu, tuwashukuru sana kwa sababu ya mahumbili ambao umetuhubilia siku ya leo. Na hatuwezi sahau ya kwamba kanisa mlitushikilia sana wakati tulipokuwa tunafanya kampeni. Na tuwahakikishie hatujasahau na hatujatoka nje ya menendo ya kanisa. Bado sisi ni Wakristo na mzidi kutuombea, mzidi kutushikilia, maana hilo ni jukumu ambalo mmepewa na Mungu katika Biblia. Ya mwisho, Your Excellency, niseme ya kwamba sisi kama watu wa kule kwetu Kiambu na kule kwingine hatukusurutishwa na mtu kukupigia kura na kukusupport. Na kama vile Duncan amesema, Your Excellency, kama Karuma ako kwa serikali, tunaweza kuwa watu wa aina gani sisi tutoke kwa serikali turudi kwa msitu? Hatuwezi kubali kurudi kwa msitu. Tuko kwa serikali na tutakuombea Mungu azidi kukusaidia ndio ende ukishikiliana na kusupport na kuunganisha nchi yetu ya taifa letu ya Kenya. Lakini nimeambia Karuma, venye nimeona ile mbio amekimbia, lazima tutaweka broko kidogo, lakini karibu katika taifa. Asante.
From these speeches, even that from Kaluma and this one from this two Kikuyu MPs, you can see an attempt by the president to pacify the voters. So that to tell the voters that, you know what, we did the right thing. And those MPs are the ones that are given the chance to speak about those things. The president has still kept his silence on that, but I think he's not kept his silence. Those MPs are speaking what he ought to have said. Sometimes in those events, everything is planned. What are you going to say? How are you going to say it? Which angle? Everything is normally choreographed. So those are the presidents talking. This comes a day after Ichung'wa was in Tharaka Nithi. I don't want to play the soundbite of Ichung'wa. Was in Tharaka Nithi telling the country that Kindiki is the DP designate. I want to politically interpret these political happenings on Sunday. Starting from Rigathi Gachagwa's tone change in the secretary statement and the speeches from William Ruto's event. I'm seeing four things here, or four possibilities here. Number one, Rigathi is sending a signal on opposition that he is willing, and I think from his tone, he seemed to have thrown the towel. We will one day tell the country how my impeachment was done. How about that? So he is saying that we forgive the president. We leave the president for it. And on some, indirectly, he's saying that the government is failing. Something that is amongst the charges that he was facing. I really doubt if there is some reconciliation effort going on. Looking at Rigathi Gachagwa's impeachment, I don't think there is any communication between Rigathi and his boss. Is there a possibility of courts undoing Rigathi removal? Now that the strong strings that were pulled on Rigathi are now being loosened, no one would think that the security will be reinstated. So the reinstatement of the security is a testament that probably the courts can be used to undo that impeachment, looking at how the case has been dragging there. Now, if you see the group that was with Rigathi in that church service in Kiambu, it is a message of an effort to try to establish center of influence around the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And Mount Kenya will be split into which side. But most probably Rigathi might run away with it because that other side here, Ichung'wa, doesn't have someone. Kindiki, if Kindiki takes over, Kindiki does not pick that political clout and is not so much interested in politics. So Rigathi will easily move around with Mount Kenya. Then Ruto is using broad-based theory to legitimize Rigathi ouster. If you look at the speeches in the church service where Ruto was, those speeches are just people who are guilty, just trying to defend themselves before the population on what they have done. And that is why I can say they're trying to legitimize that. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my take. Tell us about that Rigathi impeachment, that Rigathi reinstatement of the security, and his tone, looking also at what the other MPs at Ruto's event are saying. Thank you, and kindly support the Nyandarua Elderly Mission.